Previously on Sister Wives.
He tries to defend himself, saying that his mental state was in an unsteady place. A trigger for that was seeing the mini Christmas tree Janelle professed to be taking up to the Airbnb.
I'm just thinking, maybe tiny Christmas trees just set Kody off. Like, he could be going through a department store and see a tiny tree and just start knocking things over and yelling, "Christine!"
Tiny Christmas trees.
So no one told you that polygamy was bad. You have got no husband, your kids have got no dad. It's like you're always stuck in space and life, when it hasn't been a good week, a month, a year, in your whole life. He's not there for you. He's afraid of being poor. He's not there for you, like he wasn't there before. He's not there for you. What doesn't any do?
Hello, welcome back, my Sister Wives buddies. My name is Angie, this is my husband Tim. Marty's over here. And today we are recapping from the fires of Mount Doom. We are here to do one thing, and it is to melt a ring.
Do, 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 do.
Yes. I remember when I was writing my script, I actually looked up how much does it cost to melt a ring. And someone said, no cost, just go here. And then I clicked on the link and it was a YouTube video to when the hobbits went to Mordor. And I remember someone on Reddit actually posted a meme of Kody melting the ring and dropping it into the lava. Mm-hmm. So can't take credit for the background. So this recap is going to be a little strange because there is an obvious drop-off in notes after the revelation of the ring. We'll get into it, but I'm just going to warn you that I was kind of done with the show after that reveal.
Yeah, Angie nearly lost her mind.
I've known about it for a while, but as I write the notes, I try to create this narrative where I piece things together. I realized the implications of that story and how it affects the entire premise of the show. And we'll talk about it, but I'm just going to say I was extremely cynical after that point and didn't really want to talk about anything after that.
Now you know how I feel.
Right now I'm I'm extremely pessimistic. So let's get into this, shall we?
If we have to.
Okay. Sister Wives Season 18, Episode 16, One-on-One Part 2. We resume the Part 2 tell-all with the question, did Cody and Janelle have great sex?
Oh my god.
Will Cody answer? Oh, the suspense.
Of course he won't.
Yeah, he doesn't go into detail, but he does say that sex is a part of a loving relationship, or at least the facade of a loving relationship.
And he would know a thing or two about that.
He maintains that if there was physical attraction, it was all one-sided on Janelle's part. He insists that she was the one who was begging to join his family. He goes, she was attracted to me, but she wasn't in love with me. Which does track, since Janelle said the same thing last episode. Mm-hmm. Unlike Unlike her husband, Janelle believes there was physical compatibility on both ends. Wanna go?
Okay, see you, boy.
Suki tries to joke, saying that the second wife has been burying this lead of hers that she and Kody actually enjoyed up until recently, and especially fulfilling sex life. The prudent wife affirms that she and Kody were very good in that department, but people don't get that impression from them since she is very close-lipped about it.
Apparently less closed-lipped than Kody is. He wouldn't even deign an answer.
I think it's because Kody has this thing where if he's attracted to a woman, that sort of gives her power over him.
The only one of the wives that he is consistently talks about how attractive they are is Kody.
I think we've said it before where Kody is just attracted to his reflection that he sees in the eyes of the woman he's looking into.
He feels that the fact that they want him adds value to him, and he is not going to give value to others.
Suki continues to tease an answer from Janelle, implying that making up after a fight was the fun part of the marriage. Janelle agrees. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, good on you, Janelle.
At least one aspect of Janelle's relationship with Kody was fulfilling.
Can we stop thinking about this, please?
We get back to the Salsa Brava conversation. Our host asks the evasive man that if he truly wanted to reconcile, why couldn't he just tell Janelle how much she meant to him? He goes, No. I didn't want to reconcile because I wasn't in the mood for that anymore. He didn't say those exact words, but he does carry on saying he hasn't been in that state of mind of wanting to reconcile for at least 4 weeks. During that time, he had been seething in his feelings of betrayal. They replay the blow-up fight at the college dorm. He does regret succumbing to the many triggers, which only further escalated the argument. He wanted to avoid that during this Salsa Brava exchange. Baldylocks admits that this cautious approach made the discussion a bit more stoic. He didn't say those exact lines. He's just saying he wasn't vulnerable because he was kind of on the lookout for these triggers or anything that would set him off and become emotional.
I feel like this guy is just a hair trigger that at any moment he could explode for any reason. So I'm kind of more weirded out by him when he is being nice and quiet.
There's something so off-putting about Kody when he's acting pleasant.
But he's really good at acting and putting on a performance, right?
Apparently not. Suki rolls her eyes at this comment. He continues his defense, saying that he is constantly walking a fine line between believing the marriage is untenable and believing the marriage is fixable. He asks a hypothetical question. If we do reconcile, will I lose myself or will I find myself? I think Kody has this stance that everything has to be perfectly perfect. If things appear good on the surface, Kody believes things are actually chaotic, and that's where he accuses people of being drunk alcoholics that have forgotten the past. He's very obsessive. I think that's what he means when he says, I could lose myself if Janelle and I are actually able to reconcile.
I get the impression that Kody needs an enormous amount of external validation to his identity. And his identity is wrapped up in these women. It's not enough that he has way more women than he deserves who are trying to vie for his attention. He identifies as a polygamist. He also identifies as a tough, strong guy. So he's concerned that if he gives up being a tough, strong guy to preserve his identity as a polygamist, that he'd be damaging his identity of being a tough, strong guy. So he's trying to figure out which elements of his identity are the things that need to be protected. And it's clear that he doesn't value these women. He only values what their relationship means for who he is.
It's almost as if Kody never loved any of these women from the start.
Almost.
I'm just trying to get into his head because he does word things somewhat cryptically. Janelle disagrees that Kody genuinely cares about their relationship. She perceives him wanting reconciliation as a miserable attempt to hold together that crumbling big picture of his. He promised Robyn that he would be a polygamist. The second wife asserts that there is no pining of any sort, especially from him. His actions are solely ego-driven. Instead of making the marriage about the two of them, Kody tried to guilt Janelle about everything else. That she wasn't willing to co-parent with him, and she was too independent. He made a list of requisites in order for them to be together. Of course, this incensed the logical woman. She balked at these requirements, saying she's never had to earn her way into being in his good graces, and she isn't starting now. Kody's stipulations are brought up to Christine. The free woman claims that her marriage was defined by that constant pressure. She felt her behavior was always under scrutiny. She tried to meet her ex's demands, such as making his favorite foods for dinner or making sure the house was clean to his standards. Like Robyn, Christine also wanted Kody to feel as comfortable as possible in her home. Because remember, Robyn boasted to the camera that hers and Kody's relationship is different since she treats his days with her like a honeymoon, aka he is her best customer. Christine was also doing the same, he just ignored those efforts.
It doesn't hurt that Christine also wasn't a diesel jeans model or something.
Well, she looking fabulous now.
Wait, who would she?
Christine.
Okay, good.
I'm sorry, I'm saying Christine looks good.
Okay.
This topic of constantly putting in efforts expands into the theme of loyalty. Suki asked Meri if Kody is capable of seeing loyalty in Janelle. Meri rejects the idea, saying that any semblance of loyalty that could be there was overlooked by her ex, since he only saw what he wanted to see. The former first wife says that Kody isn't truthful about his standards, since she did everything in her power to placate the duplicitous man. Kody would ask Meri to do things, be a certain way, fix situations in specific manners, or even demand she be vulnerable about certain topics. I think the exact words were he wanted her to share certain information, and I took that to mean she needs to be vulnerable with him. She needs to give him the scoop of what's going on. After meeting all of those requests, he never came around and continued gaslighting her, saying the ball was still in her court. She finally concluded that loyalty is probably not enough, at least for her. Yeah, Kody doesn't want loyalty from Meri. He wanted that from Janelle. What he wanted from Meri was for her to just leave him.
To just go away quietly.
Our host concludes that Kody just wanted to be emotionally unavailable to Meri if she was set on them acting like a couple. Suki asks if it feels like a dagger to the heart to see her then husband so responsive to the other wives. Meri laughs, saying it's more like a knife to the kidneys. Suki laughs back, saying she knows the reference.
Yeah, just put Captain America from Avengers. I get that reference.
Yeah, she doesn't know anything about the show.
I mean, she didn't even say, oh, I get that reference. She just says, I know what that means. Because the people in the back room said, somebody's going to say something about getting stabbed in the kidneys. That's something Kody said.
Yeah, she was prepped by producers saying, hey, this is a meme now. Make sure you know this so you don't look like a fool.
And she looked like a fool anyway.
We listen to more drivel from Kody, professing to have never been in love with Meri, emphasizing that the entirety of their courtship, engagement, newlywed life, and so on was a performance. Suki tries to warn him that Meri will watch this interview. He backtracks on the exaggeration, confessing that they did have a romantic experience, but he was met with a ton of dysfunction following their honeymoon period.
They had a romantic experience. They didn't have a relationship, they had experiences.
The worst part is that Kody believes he's coming off as charming and intelligent.
Oh my goodness, this guy's in love with his own image.
Something that was not exaggerated was Kody's elation when Meri first told him she was moving her clothing business to Parowan. We watched that same awkward announcement of the three adults standing on opposite corners of Meri's kitchen island.
It was stupid the way they were standing and so iconic.
The flashback shows Meri pointing at Kody's gigantic horse ring that served as a replacement for his colada band that represented his 4 marriages. The clip also shows Kody's thoughtful suggestion to house Meri in his would-be barn dominium out on the property. We get Janelle's reaction, where she almost breaks into laughter at the proposal whilst Christine covers her face in shame. The news anchor asks Meri what did she think Kody would do after telling him she would move her business. The rejected woman shrugs, saying her bar with him is so low this is exactly how she thought he would react. Meri reveals that she did ask Robyn to always be that champion of false hope for her and Kody's marriage. It was actually Robyn who tried to assuage Meri's fears that they could still have a sister-wife bond even if she was spiritually divorced from Kody. But of course, these sacred eternal covenants is what made Meri stay in a loveless sham of a marriage for nigh on 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, the only way things could get worse is if we found out it was even more fake than we thought.
Oh boy. Christine is asked her POV on Robyn's intentions. She mimics the fourth wife, saying, hang on with me. Christine then impersonates Kody. No, please leave. She chalks up that disconnect as a self-serving act on Robyn's part. Meri has no life if she stays with Kody. The only positive is occasionally interacting with Robyn's kids. Christine is baffled over the favored wife's motives. So, if Meri's story is true and that at every turn Robyn did say maybe I should let you go, but Meri was like, no, forget that, always advocate for our marriage, then the blame also lies with Meri because Robyn is just following through with a promise. Albeit Robyn probably should have broken her promise long ago since good friends also stop when they realize the acts they're doing is harmful.
These two, one asked the other to do something bad and then they continued doing it, which was also bad. So in my book, they're pretty much both equally responsible for this nonsense.
Robyn says one of the rationales for stringing Meri along was because of Kody's own statements. He would profess that he hadn't done things with Meri in a while, or he would occasionally want to include her in events. The fourth wife took this as a sign that he wanted to heal things with Meri.
I think that if he wanted to heal things with Meri, he wouldn't say things like, hey, do you think Meri wants to go to the
Grand Canyon?
Oh, I was going to say drop off garbage at the junkyard with me. Or do you think Meri would allow us to store some busted ass junk on her property?
Wait, when did he do that?
I assume that's what Robyn means when she says that Kody would bring her up to have her participate. If he wanted to make things up with Meri, he would probably say, hey, I'm thinking about reconciling things with Meri.
Yeah, Robyn just sees what she wants to see. And also, I think Kody was probably saying those things because he wanted some of her income in the family pot. Kody is asked about Robyn's meddling behavior between him and the former first wife. He didn't like it one bit. The very pressured man did make it crystal clear to Robyn that he didn't feel married to Meri, nor felt the desire for that to change. But of course, she ignored that remark. Janelle believes it absurd for Robyn to try to play the middleman for Kody and Meri's relationship. She voices that if either party is too immature to have a conversation without Robyn, they probably shouldn't be having it to begin with. However, Meri willingly calls on Robyn to be that buffer. Janelle adds, I don't know, it's kind of a big mess to me. Suki then questions Janelle if Kody is afraid to say that his marriage to Meri is not working in front of Robyn. Janelle gives an answer that doesn't correspond with the question. No, because he would say those things in front of me all the time, that there was no hope for our relationship. Okay, but that wasn't Suki's question. Her question was, is he afraid to say that with Robyn present? Because Kody claimed he does tell Robyn how non-existent he believed his marriage to Meri was, so I don't know, this is a bit obnoxious to follow. Ballylocks explains that he can't be in a full marriage to Meri because he doesn't feel safe around her. He doesn't get into the details why. He doesn't want to drive the bus over her, belaboring the point that they, as a couple, just don't work anymore.
I think Meri could take Kody in a fight.
What do you mean?
He's afraid of her. He doesn't feel safe around her. He might be going on about how he doesn't feel secure around her because she doesn't validate his emotions or some nonsense. But how could he not feel safe around her? What could she do?
I guess he's referring to that dysfunction after their romantic experience, but it could be alluding to all sorts of things that Meri has been accused of. We then turn our attention to the season 18 finale, where Kody and Meri broke up on camera with Robyn in tow. The favored wife says she needed to be there because she understands/speaks Kody. The other wives are capable of speaking this language, but are just unable to. That is why she must be there at any time Kody tries to converse with a wife, or better yet, one of his own children, as Janelle will expound upon. The second wife scoffs at Robyn's self-assessment that she is imperative to the well-being of every relationship in the family. Janelle chuckles, saying, I don't know if I need someone to translate for me. Kody and I have been married a long time. We did okay without you. It bugs her to no end how Robyn wedged herself between her children and their dad, saying that she needed to be present whenever they talk with him.
She really thinks that she can be the advocate for everyone to Kody. This could either be extremely manipulative or just incredibly naive.
Speaking of naive, Christine brings up the one time when she thought it a good idea to actually have Robyn as a Kody translator, but went against it. That sentence reminded me of that time Christine, Robyn, and Kody were building a boat. And at that point in the episode, it did seem Christine was in favor of Robyn being present for conversations between her and Kody.
I think having another relationship, another marriage in this same garage at the same time, he has to take that into account too, even though it's frustrating the crap out of him. He has to sit there and go, oh, well, here's another one of my wives sitting here telling me her opinion, standing up for her sister wife, telling me I'm being a jerk.
Holy hell! That is why people should live plural marriage. That's why it is for women. Have someone else on your side. That should be the slogan for plural marriage. Get a sister wife.
Win the arguments.
Christine grew out of that real quick, because I'm assuming she was only saying those things in order to prove to Kody she could kiss Robyn's butt. But alas, he kept telling her she was a shitty sister wife anyways.
I don't like Kody.
So, needless to say, I really dislike this stance Robyn has. In a way, she's trying to aggrandize herself, right? She says, you need me there because you are not as good at understanding this man that you've been married to for a much longer time than me. Her way of inserting herself into these exchanges between different family members is a way for her to gain some control. And if that exchange does go favorably, both parties are in a way indebted to her.
It's the same dichotomy that we've seen from Robyn over and over and over again. Is she helping but stupid, or is she making things worse and evil? The only thing that this show consistently does, besides making Kody look like a toilet, is balancing this mystery. Is she evil or is she stupid? Is she evil or is she stupid?
Yeah, this issue, it all comes down to how you interpret it. So I feel Robyn is claiming this role as a family mediator so that she can be necessary. For the longest time when the show started, she kept lamenting the fact that she didn't have an established or distinct role from the other wives. So she invented this position to both separate Kody from everyone else and to make herself necessary. Because the truth is, Robyn doesn't speak Kody. The only language Kody listens to is Robyn. And that's why this toxic dynamic exists.
We've all seen the show. We know that Kody, Meri, Janelle, and Christine communicate like they bottle things up. They don't say anything, and I could imagine if I was some hot diesel jeans model coming up into the family and seeing just how dysfunctional the family was communication-wise.
You think Christine communicated like
I think a little bit. I think she could have been more direct. Robyn is very direct in these conversations and stuff.
How so?
She will often say, this is what the problem is, this is what we're talking about, and then she won't let the conversation change in other directions sometimes. We've seen that happen.
Oh.
Whereas the other sister wives are kind of all over the place. So part of me does empathize with the compulsion to get this shit straightened out. I can see Robyn trying to do that, or at least that's the justification she comes up with, because I'm often very irritated by how little these people communicate with each other.
The way Christine describes her origin story into the family is that she sort of saved the dynamic between Meri and Janelle, where they were sort of at each other's throats, and she came in there and stopped that because she was a little bit of Meri's and Janelle's personality, and I guess helped them get along better because she was there. So that wasn't my impression of Christine.
The thing I get from Christine, and Christine is kind of here's a problem going on, and she'll run around and be like, don't look at the problem, look at me, look at me, look at me, stop looking at the problem, look at me. That's kind of the impression I get from how Christine solves problems.
Yeah, she's also kind of avoidant.
Yeah, and then look at Kody. Ugh. How avoidant can you be?
I mean, it's not that Robyn says, here's a problem, let's stick to it. Because I feel the conversation you're referring to is when she said to Kody, you need to shut up. Your head is not in a good space right now. That's not really solving the problem. That's being manipulative.
I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about specifically when she was trying to be the advocate with Kody in the past. I don't have any specific references or whatever, but I just got the impression that she was the one that would want to sit people down and actually have a talk about stuff, as opposed to everybody else just kind of trying to avoid things. I still think it does come across as manipulative because she does get to steer conversations the way that she wants, but I think that in some naive or evil way, she made it worse.
She thinks she's trying to build bridges, but she just builds walls. She wholeheartedly believes she is contributing when she isn't. Because what she should be doing is trying to get Kody to listen to his other family members instead of solely just listening to her.
If she was really trying to advocate for the other sister wives, she should close her mouth and help them say what they need to say, as opposed to just translating. If she speaks Kody, then shouldn't she be trying to teach other people to speak Kody?
Yes.
Why does she have to be the go-between?
Because again, she wants to be necessary. We then get Meri going on a spiel saying that she might hurt Kody, but he needs to accept her truth nonetheless.
I had no idea what she was going on about this.
In this instant, I found it annoying that even up until now, she keeps tiptoeing around Kody's feelings because she says things like, oh, the barn-dominion proposal was not a nice thing. I can't fault him for saying what he feels, or that was not a kind thing to say. But we'll get into it later where she gets so angry at Christine for something Kody did. And that juxtaposition is a little bit unbalanced, where Meri refuses to be mad at Kody, but she is instantly frustrated when Christine tells a story involving her and Kody. Suki asks the ex-third wife her opinion on Meri pointing out Kody's new horse ring. Christine starts laughing as she recalls an incident that perfectly explained Meri's reaction. She reveals that he melted the wedding band Meri gifted him when they were married in an act of defiance. He didn't want her to have control over him anymore. He saved the raw materials, i.e. the gold and diamonds. To replace his wedding band, the four wives designed a Claudia ring with 4 diamonds in the middle to represent all of them. After his plural marriages went to the wayside, he took it upon himself to design wedding bands for himself and Robyn. Christine tries to explain that the new ring Meri noticed during her announcement is probably another ornament for Kody. The man needed a new ring to feel that he has a new beginning, just like he has done before. So I first heard about the melting of the ring story 3 years ago. In my first post on the TLC Sister Wives subreddit, I posted about Meri wearing her loyalty necklace during a Friday with Friends live, and I remember someone commented something like, I'm glad Meri's wearing her necklace again. It also looks like she's wearing her wedding ring too. Then someone replied saying I thought her ring was melted down and given to Robyn's kids. And then someone else responded to that person saying, I think the rumor is that Kody melted down his wedding ring. So in 2021, I looked up where that rumor came from, and it came from the Catfish's blog. There is an article on the Ashley Reality Roundup that summarizes it, and it was published in November 2015. So this is what the Catfish / Sam Cooper / Jackie Overton wrote. Meri told me the last straw for her was when he took the wedding band that she gave him during their wedding ceremony and melted it down. He told her he didn't want it to be a contention point with the other wives. So he had it melted down and put into a piece of jewelry for another daughter. Not her daughter. It showed her how much the marriage meant to him, which was nothing. She said it hurt her feelings because he could have given it back to her to hold on to for her daughter's future husband, or at least let her have it for a keepsake. So this rumor was circulating the internet for a long time, but a lot of the fandom, including myself, dismissed it. One, because it came from an unreliable narrator, and two, because it sounds like something that came out of a Sister Wives fanfiction, right? We all hate Kody, but to think he would do something so petty and spiteful as to spend money and time, two things he shouldn't have had before he started getting a TLC paycheck, is unthinkable. Not to mention no guy would be this cruel as to put in this much mental energy into the symbolism of jewelry, when it is so much cheaper to just buy another ring or, not wear it at all.
It takes another level of vindictiveness to put in this much effort.
Yeah, he had to take the extra steps to dig in that knife even further because he is a hateful man. In the next scene, Meri is extremely displeased after finding out that personal story is revealed. She wanted to out that event herself in her own time and words, but wasn't given the opportunity to do so since Christine beat her to it. So I think according to her Instagram, Meri was in the process of writing her own version of a tell-all book, and I'm assuming that story was probably the most spicy one in there, so she might be worried it might affect the sales of the book. And in a way, that revelation makes everyone look bad, right? Because it shows that they were all lying, even before Robyn came into the family. But they proceeded to brand themselves as the poster family for polygamy, even though behind the scenes, the relationships were so f***ed up.
I mean, it's the timing of this that's so damning. The timing of it. If this had happened, I melted it down after the catfish, then you'd be like, Kody's a jack. I believe it. Or if this had happened just before the catfish and it was, they were having a bad hard patch and that's just what happened at this point. But this happened either just before the show was picked up or just during season 1. And that just screws everything up. And suddenly the whole story of the Browns doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah, I'll get to my rant in a second. We still have to talk about Meri. Needless to say, she is very upset. You can almost see the steam coming out of her ears as she fumes about Christine. She goes, she doesn't get to come on here and tell my story without me even knowing it.
You could create a meme where you see it's the smug-looking face of Meri saying, I'm not going to be silent anymore. And then Christine underneath goes, hey, I'm going to tell you this story about a ring. And then underneath that, like, no, I was going to be not silent about that, but you chose to not be silent first. Just see and cope.
Meri now feels her hand is forced, so she has to tell the story. So I'm not sure why this was allowed in the episode. I heard that Kody does have a say in what can be put in the show. That's why during that Mormon Discussions podcast, he kept saying, you'll edit that out, right? Even though it was a live stream. So the rumor is Kody has input on what things are left on the cutting room floor. Why isn't Meri given that same treatment? If that's the case, this is on Puddle Monkey's shoulders.
Why didn't Kody just say no to the story in the first place? Because as bad as Meri's reaction is, it makes Kody look a million times worse. If that was even possible.
Wait, what do you mean? We didn't get his reaction.
No, I know. The story makes Kody look a million times worse. So if Kody can just stop things from going through, then why didn't he stop this story from going through?
I will get into it of what happens when he sort of talks about the ring, which kind of proves that point that he does tell production to edit certain questions out.
Oh.
We hear Meri's account of the ring debacle. Around the time Kody was courting Robyn, she noticed he no longer wore the wedding band she gave him. He told her he didn't wear it anymore because he didn't want to feel Meri had claim over him. He melted their symbol of commitment and perhaps their whole relationship in that moment. Before she knew he destroyed the ring, she asked if she could have it back, but he told her it was too late. She speculates that this cruel deed was carried out 7 years before the catfishing. So that means Kody melted his ring in 2008. And he met Robyn sometime in early to mid 2009. Because the catfishing was 2015, right? Anyways, Meri basically summarizes Robyn's backstory. The lonely woman essentially had no allies in her family and was striving for even a modicum of friendship. So Meri's reaction to telling her story of the ring getting melted, I get it. It is very painful, but it seems sort of weird for that revelation to come after her talking head, where she basically gives Kody so much forgiveness as to why he said those things about putting her in the barn dominium. This segment of her telling the story about the ring is a bit off-putting because obviously she knew how terrible her ex has always been. Like, girl, where was this anger in every talking head you had about your husband? Because I remember in season 17, she would always be mad at Christine about divorcing Kody.
I'm really angry. Yeah, I'm really angry. I'm feeling betrayed. I can't imagine what Kody's feeling. It just makes me think, was it just all a lie all those years? She's always said how much she wanted the sister wives. Why is she coming to the family if she's going to do this after? And she didn't even talk to me about it. I'm taking it really personal. I'm not going to cry about it because I'm pissed off. I don't feel jealous of Christine that she's leaving, and I can't because I can do whatever I want. My strength is sticking around and seeing if Kody would be willing to work on a relationship. So I leave that door open, but I'm not pining away for it. She doesn't want to work on anything. And I have seen her non-acceptance of Robyn. And I have seen her disdain for me through the years. So as much as it hurts me, I'm glad to know where she actually stands. I'm not trying to end it that way, though.
Meri would say things like, oh, I can't imagine how Kody must be feeling. Oh, Christine isn't being committed to our covenants like me. Was Christine lying all these years? Because she always said she wanted the sister wives. And I'm thinking, Meri, you, of all people, should not be on your soapbox accusing other people of lying. Where is even a fraction of that ire you have for Christine? And why isn't it directed at Kody, who obliterated that symbol of your eternal covenant back in 2008?
Where is your self-respect?
And I know the answer to that self-respect is wrapped up in some sweet, sweet TV show money, because obviously they wouldn't have gotten a show if Kody wasn't seen as that idealistic polygamist.
And this is the thread that makes the whole show unravel.
Anyways, Robyn is caught up with this story. She clarifies that when she met Kody, he didn't even have a wedding band on his hand. For some reason, this topic is concluded with no insight from Kody. We just get info that he discarded his Claddagh ring and replaced it with the horse one. He isn't inquired about the one he melted. I think this is proof that Kody does ask the editors to take things out of the episode. All of these adults have been expounding on this incident. Janelle does, but I think in a separate interview with Christine. And Kody isn't even briefed on the subject, or it was just cut out entirely.
Yeah, all we get from him is, it's a cool horse ring.
Just like the flashback.
Just a cool horse ring.
The rest of the episode is footage before Christine let the cat out of the bag. So this is the point in the episode where I took very sparse notes, because the revelation of the ring recontextualizes everything. It retroactively invalidates the premise of the entire show. The rest of the episode is about Meri and Kody, where Meri tells the camera, why is Kody being so mean? I've done everything he wanted me to. Why can't he just tell me? And I'm sitting here thinking, Meri, what more can you want on a scale of he didn't tell me anything to I melted the representation of our sacred covenant in order to emotionally harm you? Does it need to be to spell it out to you?
I'm just thinking, one of those questions on the internet. Tell me that you don't love your spouse without telling me you don't love your spouse. I melted our ring and then gave it to my daughter of another wife.
Exactly. Because before this revelation, the way I viewed the show was the depiction of the gradual degradation of a polygamist family. So Tim said this in a previous recap. The Browns were sort of like a vase that was cracked, but at least they were trying. And it turns out that no, it wasn't that there were cracks in the foundation. There was no foundation at all. The family was built on cinder blocks. It upsets me because they're continuing to perpetuate a lie. For the rest of it, it's just the adults watching the breakup scene between Meri, Kody, and Robyn. And I'm just tempted to write after each sentence, it doesn't matter, Kody broke up with Meri before Robyn came into the family.
And the other wives were aware, and they just kept ignoring it.
Yeah, we like to say Robyn broke up the family. Like, no, the family was a facade, as Kody would like to say.
Kody didn't slowly get worse or slowly get corrupted. He was always terrible from the very beginning. And the thing that gets me is that the melting of the ring is the most cruel thing Kody has ever done, and it happened before the show. So there is no descending into darkness. He was already in the deep hell, just being a terrible person.
So I will concede to one of my commenters from 2 recaps ago, where they said that when Kody promised Robyn he would never sit there in a pathetic place with her, it was because at that point he was already out of love with the first 3. I think that actually makes so much more sense if Robyn knew the ring story and she's like, oh, are you going to do that to me? Because that is something that would just stop me from marrying a polygamist man. Like, you hate your wives so much. I don't think I want to join your family. And Cody's like, oh, no. Here's my promise to you. I will not treat you like crap.
I mean, it's so bad. It makes every adult in the family way worse than we thought. It makes Meri look 80 times more pathetic than we always thought she was. It makes Janelle look even more unempathetic than we already thought she was. It makes Kody look like even more of a sociopath than we already thought he was. And then it makes Christine a liar about talking about how great polygamy is, even more than we already thought she was.
Yeah, so
this is not a family that is struggling to stay together because they're a family. These are a bunch of coworkers. Their job is to be on this show, and they are trying to perpetuate a TV show. And that's all it really ever was.
Oh, Meri, you're upset that he didn't declare that you were broken up publicly? Doesn't matter because you were already broken up a year before Robyn came into the family, or whatever. I'm still not sure on the timeline because Meri did say that she suspected Kody melted the ring 7 years prior to the catfish. So I suspect it's 2008. Some people think it was during the time he was courting Robyn, and that's when he decided to melt the ring. I'm not sure, but either way, it was definitely before the show aired.
I mean, the animosity that Kody feels towards Christine still does not feel like enough anger to melt down a ring like that. And that was after she was gone. Meri was still there.
In a way, this wasn't the bombshell I wanted from this episode. I'm thankful for Christine that she confirmed this rumor.
And that she upset Meri.
But I'm worried how this will affect our future recaps of the show because now it feels like we're going to have to sift through everything and see what is salvageable because
the entire narrative of the show is bull.
Anyways, I'm going to just end our review there. I'm sorry that I'm not going to get to the part where Janelle goes, oh, I would have left so much earlier if Kody treated me the way he treats Meri. I'm not going to get into that. It's just...
That changes the entire meaning of that statement. Because if Janelle had said that before we found out about the ring, we'd be like, oh, he must be talking about the way he acted about the catfish or the way that he said about the barn dominium. But now we're like, oh, no, you mean the absolute hell that he put this woman through? I mean, I'm sure Meri wasn't a dream to be around, but nobody really deserves to be put through that, no matter how shitty they were. Angie was... Angie was having a meltdown, so we decided to call it a day.
I'm sorry. I'll try to be more optimistic in the next recap. Maybe some of that frustration will ebb away. And
yes, Angie was pacing around back and forth saying, "I'm becoming you."
Here, give me a summary.
We find out how Janelle and Kody made the babies. Robyn took a correspondence course in Kody and is the authority when discussing things with the husband of the Browns. Meri is a total girl boss. And then Christine tells us a story that makes us all maybe hate the show now.
That is not inaccurate. All right. I'll do a better job next time.
You did a great job. The only person that let us down was TLC for picking up this show.
Okay. So we'll see you next week then. Bye.